There are places on this planet that you will never be allowed to step foot on. Not because they don't exist on a map, but because what there is too dangerous, too sacred, too secret, or too deadly for human eyes. Some are guarded by armed soldiers. Some are guarded by something far older than any army. And one of them is an island where every single outsider who has ever landed has never made it back. Today, we're taking you to 10 places where the rules of tourism simply do not apply. Stay until the end, because place number 1 will make you look at the map of the world completely differently. In a Venice lagoon sits a small, overgrown island that the Italian government has refused to sell or rent out for years, despite multiple buyers offering millions. Poveglia Island has a dark history. During the bubonic plague, it was used as a quarantine station and later as a dumping ground for plague victims' bodies. Locals claim the soil itself is partly made of human ash, the result of centuries of burning the dead here to stop the disease from spreading. In the 20th century, it briefly became a mental asylum, and stories spread of disturbing experiments. The asylum closed in 1968, and the island has been abandoned ever since. Today, even ghost hunting television crews have been denied permission to film here, and the only way to reach it legally requires special government clearance that is almost never granted to the public. This island is younger than your parents. Surtsey didn't exist until 1963, when an underwater volcano erupted off the coast of Iceland and pushed a brand new island up out of the ocean. Scientists watched in real time as a piece of land was born. Because Surtsey formed from nothing with zero life on it, scientists realized it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a perfectly blank slate to study exactly how life colonizes a new landmass. What arrives first, plants, insects, birds, and in what order. To protect this rare, scientific experiment from contamination, Iceland banned almost all visitors. Only a small number of approved researchers are allowed to land each year, and they must follow strict decontamination procedures so they don't accidentally introduce new seeds or organisms. Hawaii welcomes nearly 10 million tourists every year, but one island in the chain remains almost completely closed off. Niihau is privately owned by a single family and has been since 1864. Outsiders cannot simply book a flight or ferry here. Entry requires special invitation or an extremely limited, expensive helicopter tour, and even then, visitors are restricted to certain areas only. The reason is preservation. Niihau has around 70 permanent native Hawaiian residents who still speak Hawaiian as their first language and live a lifestyle that has barely changed in over a century. No paved roads, no running water in some homes, no real connection to the modern grid. The island's owners have kept it this way deliberately to protect one of the last truly traditional Hawaiian communities left on Earth. Deep underground in southern France lies one of the most important art galleries in human history, and you are not allowed to see the real thing. The Lascaux caves contain paintings of horses, bulls, and deer created roughly 17,000 years ago, some of the earliest known artwork made by humans. The caves were open to the public in the 1940s, and within 2 decades, something alarming happened. The carbon dioxide, heat, and moisture from human breath, multiplied by thousands of visitors, began damaging the ancient pigments. Mold started growing on the walls. In 1963, France permanently sealed the original cave to all public access. Today, what tourists visit is an exact, painstakingly recreated replica built nearby, while the real cave is monitored by a small number of scientists who enter only a few times a year in full protective gear.
This is one of the most remote places on the entire planet. Heard Island sits in the subantarctic Southern Ocean, an Australian territory so isolated that fewer people have ever set foot here than have walked on the surface of the moon. There's an active volcano, Big Ben, glaciers, and almost no shelter from some of the roughest seas on Earth. Heard Island isn't banned by law in the same way as a military base, but reaching it is its own form of exclusion. There's no airport, no harbor, no permanent population. Getting here requires a privately chartered ship and weeks of travel through brutal Southern Ocean storms, putting it effectively off limits to all but a handful of scientific expeditions each decade. Off the coast of São Paulo, Brazil, lies a small island most people will never set foot on, and for very good reason. Ilha da Queimada Grande, known simply as Snake Island, is home to the golden lancehead viper, one of the most venomous snakes on the planet. Estimates suggest there is roughly 1 snake for every square meter of land here. The Brazilian Navy has banned all civilian visits. The only people allowed on the island are scientists, and even they must be accompanied by a doctor at all times. Local legend says a lighthouse keeper and his family, who once lived here, were killed in their sleep when snakes came in through the windows. The lighthouse has been automated and unmanned ever since. This is North Sentinel Island, part of India's Andaman Islands. From above, it looks like paradise. White sand, dense jungle, turquoise water. But this is the most isolated place on Earth, home to the Sentinelese, a tribe that has lived in complete isolation for an estimated 60,000 years. They have never been peacefully contacted. They have never adopted modern tools, and they want nothing to do with the outside world. In 1956, India officially banned all outsiders from coming within 5 kilometers of this island. But the real warning came earlier and has repeated many times since. Anyone who lands here, fishermen, missionaries, even researchers, has been met with a hail of arrows. In 2018, an American missionary named John Allen Chow paid local fishermen to take him close to the island. He tried to make contact. He was killed on the beach, and to this day, his body has never been recovered because Indian authorities have refused to risk sending anyone in to retrieve it.
In 1942, during the Second World War, the British military needed to test a terrifying new weapon, anthrax. They chose a small, uninhabited Scottish island called Gruinard and deliberately contaminated it with anthrax spores to study how the bacteria would spread and how lethal it truly was. The test worked. Too well. The island became so toxic that it remained completely quarantined for nearly 50 years. It wasn't declared safe again until 1990, and only after the entire island was soaked in 280 tons of formaldehyde diluted in seawater. For decades, Gruinard was marked on maps with a simple, chilling label: "Do not land." Buried inside a mountain near the North Pole sits humanity's backup plan for survival. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault holds more than 1 million seed samples, collected from almost every country on Earth, designed to survive nuclear war, climate collapse, or even an asteroid impact. Access is incredibly restricted. The vault is owned by Norway, but seeds inside technically belong to the countries that deposited them. And even those depositing nations can only enter on scheduled visits a handful of times per year. The general public is never allowed inside at all. It is, quite literally, one of the most protected rooms on the planet. In the heart of Japan stands the country's most sacred Shinto shrine. The Ice Grand Shrine has an inner sanctuary so revered that almost no one is permitted to see it. Not journalists, not tourists, not even most Japanese citizens. Even the Emperor of Japan can only view it from behind a fence, never entering directly. Tradition holds that this inner shrine houses one of Japan's 3 sacred imperial treasures. And in an astonishing ritual that has continued for over 1,300 years, the entire shrine is torn down and rebuilt by hand every 20 years, using traditional methods passed down for centuries. A living, breathing monument that has never truly aged, because it is never allowed to. From an island where outsiders are killed on sight, to a shrine even the emperor cannot enter, these places remind us that our planet still holds secrets the modern world hasn't tamed. But this is only part 1. In our next episode, we're heading into government bunkers, secret cities erased from maps, and vaults holding the world's most guarded treasures. Subscribe now so you don't miss what's coming next.